The coffee shop smelled like burnt oat milk and somebody's broken deadline. Neon signs bled pink and orange light across the back wall, the kind of aesthetic that existed purely for other people's Instagram grids. Zara Ahmed sat alone in the corner booth, the one nobody wanted because the AC vent above it was busted and dripped condensation every 20 minutes. She liked it exactly because nobody wanted it. She wore a faded olive cargo jacket 2 sizes too big, a white cropped tank underneath, low-rise black joggers, and beat-up New Balance 550s with a frayed left lace she kept forgetting to replace. Her natural hair was pulled into a puff on top of her head, a few coils escaping down her neck. No jewelry. No ring light. No content. On her laptop screen, a short film she'd edited in secret was racking up views. 400,000 in 2 days. She hadn't told a single person it was hers. Her phone lit up. A DM from an account she didn't follow. Verified. Blue check. The profile name, Remy Solis, founder of Cypher Creative House, the most talked about digital studio in the city. The message read, "I know you made Fade Out. We need to talk. Tonight." Zara's stomach flipped. She turned her phone face down. She breathed. Counted ceiling tiles. Told herself it was fine. It was not fine. Across the city, in a glass-walled studio that looked like a tech billionaire's fever dream, Remy Solis stood in front of a floor-to-ceiling monitor, arms crossed, dark eyes locked on the viral film playing on loop. He wore an all-black fit, a structured oversized blazer with no shirt underneath, wide-leg tailored trousers, clean white low-top Jordans. A single gold chain rested against his collarbone. His locks were pulled back loosely, a few falling forward like he'd stopped caring halfway through. He didn't look like someone who stopped caring about anything. "Pull the upload metadata," he said to the room. His assistant hesitated. "The account's private and wiped clean." "Then try harder." Remy's jaw tightened. "Whoever made this is either running from something or hiding from someone. Either way, I want to know who they are before this thing hits 1 million views." His phone buzzed. Message delivered. Read receipt appeared. She'd seen it. She hadn't replied. He almost smiled. Back in the coffee shop, the AC vent dripped right on schedule. Zara pulled her sleeve over her hand and wiped the table without blinking, eyes still fixed on her screen. The view count climbed. Comments flooded in. "This is the most honest thing I've ever watched. Who made this? Why are they anonymous? Whoever you are, please don't stop." She read every single one and felt absolutely nothing she was ready to name. Her phone lit up again. Same account. New message. "I'm not your enemy. But whoever posted that screenshot of your old work on the forum last night? They're trying to find you. I already know who they are. Your call." Zara went completely still. She hadn't told anyone about the forum. She hadn't even checked it in 3 years. Her fingers hovered over the keyboard. Then her screen flashed. A notification from a burner account she thought she'd killed years ago, posting in a comment thread she'd buried. One line. No punctuation. "Hi Zara." Cypher Creative House looked completely different at midnight. During the day it was chaos, ring lights and monitor glow and people talking over each other about engagement rates. But at night the floor-to-ceiling windows just held the city's reflection, all that light with nowhere to go. Zara stood at the entrance for 4 full minutes before she walked in. She'd changed. Not to impress anyone. Purely out of armor. A black zip-up hoodie she'd had since junior year, baggy wide-leg gray sweatpants, white tube socks with Adidas slides. Hair still in the puff. AirPods in one ear, playing nothing. Remy was already there, leaning against a standing desk, jacket gone now, just a plain black ribbed tank and the same trousers. He looked less like a founder and more like someone who forgot to go home. He looked up when she walked in and didn't pretend he hadn't been waiting. "You actually came," he said. "You said someone was looking for me." Zara stopped 6 feet away, arms crossed. "Skip the small talk." Remy nodded, pulled up a screen. Username void frame. Posted your unfinished concept art from 2021 in 3 different creative forums with your real name tagged. Tried to connect it to fade out. The air left her lungs. "How do you know about the concept art?" "Because Void Frame used to be a collaborator account. Registered to a Marcus Webb." The name landed like a brick dropped from a roof. Zara's face gave nothing away. But her hand gripped the strap of her bag so tight the fabric creased. "You know him," Remy said. It wasn't a question. "What do you want from me?" Her voice came out flat. Controlled. "I want to offer you lead director on our next campaign. Full credit. Your name on everything. Creative control." "No." Remy blinked. "You haven't even heard the scope." "I don't need to." Zara took a step back. "I don't do public facing. I don't do credit. I don't do any of that." "Why?" "That's not your business." "You're right." Remy set his phone face down on the desk. "But Marcus Webb has a media connection at 3 outlets. If he confirms your identity and ties you to fade out before you can control the narrative, you lose the story. Permanently." Zara felt the walls of the room press in slightly. She hated that he wasn't wrong. "Why do you even care?" she said. "You have 100 creators. None of them made what you made." She looked at him then. Actually looked. He wasn't performing. No corporate warmth, no founder pitch. He looked tired and honest and weirdly careful, like he was choosing every word in real time. "Marcus," she said quietly, "was my creative partner. For 2 years. We built a whole brand together. He took the footage I made, repackaged it, put his name on it, and told everyone I was the assistant who got jealous when he blew up." Remy didn't move. Didn't rush to fill the silence. "And people believed him," Zara continued, voice going lower. "Because he had the following and I had nothing. So I burned it all down. Deleted everything. Started over as nobody. And then you made Fade Out and it found 400,000 people in 48 hours. Yeah." Her jaw tightened. "And apparently it found Marcus too." Remy was quiet for a moment. "Then, 3 years ago someone I trusted leaked my private conversations to a media blog. Painted me as the villain of my own story. I built this studio in the aftermath because it was the only thing I could control." Zara stared at him. "Why are you telling me that?" "Because I want you to know I'm not asking you to trust me blindly." He met her eyes directly. "I'm asking you to trust the strategy. There's a difference." Her phone buzzed in her pocket. She pulled it out. Unknown number. 1 photo attached. It was her, from tonight, standing outside Cypher Creative House. Whoever sent it had been watching her walk in. Remy saw her face change the way a phone screen cracks, suddenly and all at once. "Show me," he said. She turned the screen toward him. He looked at the photo for 3 seconds. Then he moved. Fast. Not frantic. Purposeful. He crossed the room to the wall of monitors and pulled up the building's exterior cameras in under a minute. Zara watched him work. "You can just do that. It's my building." The footage showed a figure across the street. Gray hoodie. Face tilted down. Phone raised. They'd been standing there before Zara arrived. "They knew you were coming," Remy said. "Which means someone told them." Zara's voice went cold. "The only people who knew I was coming here tonight are you and whoever you told." Remy turned slowly. "I told one person to leave the front door unlocked. My assistant, Priya. And Priya knows Marcus? Something shifted in his expression. A crack of something complicated. Priya's been with me for 2 years. She wouldn't. You said that with a lot of certainty for someone who just watched a stranger photograph me outside your building. The silence between them was sharp-edged and tense. Then Remy's phone rang. He checked the screen. His jaw went rigid. It's Priya. He answered on speaker. Remy. Priya's voice was shaking. I am so sorry. I didn't know what he was going to do with it. He told me he was a journalist doing a positive profile on Cypher. He asked if anyone interesting was coming in tonight and I mentioned the girl from Fade Out because I was excited and I didn't think. Priya. Remy's voice was quiet and devastatingly calm. I'm so sorry. He ended the call. Zara laughed once, short and humorless. Told you. That wasn't Marcus, Remy said. Priya gave the information to someone claiming to be press. This is bigger than one person with a grudge. It was never just one person. Zara sat down on the edge of a desk, something exhausted and old moving across her face. Marcus had a whole community behind him. People who made it their personality to prove I was lying. They never stopped. I just stopped being findable. Until 400,000 people found your film. Until 400,000 people found my film. She pressed both hands flat on her knees. I should not have come here. But you did. Remy crouched down so he wasn't towering over her, bringing them to the same eye level. It was such a deliberate, careful thing to do that it almost undid her. Why? She looked at him. The city light through the windows caught the side of his face. Because you said you already knew who was after me, she admitted. And I was tired of not knowing. Remy nodded slowly. Then let me finish what I started. He stood back up. I'm going to put a name and a face to this before Marcus gets ahead of it. But I need something from you. What? I need you to let Cypher claim you publicly. Announce you as our new lead director. Make the story about your work. Your rise. We reframe everything before he can define it. Zara shook her head immediately. Zara. I said no. My face is not a tool. I don't care who's using it. Even to protect yourself. Especially then. Her voice broke slightly on the word. She caught it. Kept going. The last time someone put my face on something for my own good, I lost 2 years of my life. Remy was quiet for a long moment. Then he said something she didn't expect. Then I'll do it without your face. We announced the director as anonymous. Build the entire campaign around the mystery. Marcus tries to out you publicly, it looks like harassment against an artist who chose privacy. The audience already loves Fade Out. We give them more. He becomes the villain in a story nobody asked him to write. Zara stared at him. That actually works, she said slowly. I know. He picked up his phone. I thought of it about 20 minutes ago. I was waiting for you to run out of reasons to say no. She didn't say anything. But something inside her chest shifted. Something she hadn't felt in a very long time. The faint, terrifying sense that someone was actually in her corner. Her phone buzzed again. New message. Same unknown number. You think hiding behind a brand saves you? I have something from 2021 that will destroy you. Published Friday. Enjoy the next 72 hours. Remy read it over her shoulder. His expression went somewhere very dark and very quiet. Fridays in 3 days, Zara said. Then we move tonight. They worked through the night. By 3 a.m. the Cypher studio looked like a war room. Monitors everywhere, half-eaten snacks nobody remembered ordering, the blue-gray haze of too many screens and not enough sleep. Zara had her legs tucked under her in a rolling chair, hoodie sleeves pulled over her palms, building a visual package for the anonymous director campaign. The work came out of her like breathing. Effortless and automatic and devastating in the best way. Remy watched her from across the room when she wasn't looking. He wasn't sure when he'd started doing that. At 4 a.m. she pushed back from the desk and stretched, arms over her head, and caught him watching. He didn't look away. "Say it," she said. "You're the most talented person I've ever had in this building." She blinked. Wasn't expecting that. That's a very public-facing thing to say to someone who doesn't do public. "I say what I mean." He brought 2 cans of sparkling water across the room and handed her one. "The campaign is ready. We post at 8 a.m. By noon it's everywhere. Marcus publishes Friday, nobody cares because the narrative's already set. And if his thing goes viral anyway? Then we deal with it." He sat down on the desk next to her chair, close enough that she could see the tiredness under his eyes. "You don't have to do it alone this time." Zara looked at the water can in her hands. "You're doing a lot for someone you met 36 hours ago." "The work earned it," he said. Then quieter, "You earned it." She felt something dangerous happening in her chest. She shut it down with both hands metaphorically. "What happens after the campaign? After Friday? I go back to being nobody and you go back to running your studio. Is that what you want?" "I don't know what I want. I haven't been allowed to want things in a while." Remy looked at her steadily. "That's the most honest thing you've said to me. Don't make it a moment." Too late. A corner of his mouth lifted. The first real almost smile she'd seen from him. She looked away before it became a problem. At 7:58 a.m. they launched the campaign. By 9 a.m., Fade Out had 1 million views. By 10 a.m., Cypher's anonymous director post had been shared 40,000 times. By noon, Marcus Webb posted a video. Face to camera, ring light blazing, voice cracking with performance. He held up his phone and played a clip. Private footage. 2021, Zara's voice, talking about her fears, her creative blocks, her family. Filmed without permission in what sounded like a closed room. He'd called it, "the real story behind the viral lie." Zara heard it and didn't move. Remy watched her process it. Her face did nothing visible. Her knuckles went white around the water can still in her hand. "That was supposed to be a private conversation," she said. "Very quiet. He recorded me for months. I didn't know." Remy's voice went completely flat. "I know." She looked at him. Something was off. "What do you mean you know?" "A beat. Too long." "Remy. What did you do?" He stood up. Didn't look away from her. "Last night while you were building the campaign, I reached out to Marcus directly. I told him we had enough to expose him legally. I gave him a choice. Stand down, or we go public with the IP theft documentation we'd already pulled. And? He chose option 3. Remy's jaw was tight. He had that recording loaded and ready. He was always going to use it. The only question was when. I pushed the timeline forward by threatening him. The Friday release became today. The room went very, very still. You triggered it, Zara said slowly. You moved the timeline without telling me. Without asking me. I was trying to protect you. She stood up. You decided what protecting me looked like without asking me what I needed. Sound familiar? Remy closed his eyes briefly. That is not what this is, he said. No. Maybe not. But it's close enough to scare me. Her voice cracked on the last word. You promised me control of my own story. I know. And then you made a move in it without me. I know. He said it again, and this time it carried the full weight of knowing it was indefensible. I panicked. You were finally safe and I panicked and I made a call I had no right to make. She grabbed her bag off the desk. Zara. I need 10 minutes, she said. Don't follow me. She walked out. The elevator doors closed behind her and Remy stood in the middle of his glass-walled studio with a million-view campaign on every screen and the specific hollowness of someone who just watched themselves become exactly what they promised not to be. His phone buzzed. A notification. Marcus's video was at 200,000 views and climbing. And Zara wasn't in the building. Zara sat on the roof. She'd found the door on her second day at Cypher when she was memorizing exits out of habit. The city spread out below her in every direction, buildings catching the midday sun like they were competing for attention. Wind moved through her puff, loose coils crossing her face. She didn't push them back. She sat up there for 9 minutes. Not 10. She'd never been good at giving herself the full thing she said she needed. Then she pulled out her phone. Not to run. Not to post. Not to disappear. She opened her own camera and recorded 30 seconds of herself looking directly at the lens. No script. No ring light. Just her face and the city behind her and the wind. She said nothing out loud. She just looked. Then she went back downstairs. Remy was still standing exactly where she left him, which told her everything about what the last 9 minutes had cost him. I'm not leaving, she said. He exhaled. But if you ever make a move in my story without asking me again, I will walk out that door and you will never find another anonymous account to trace back to me. Understood? Understood. No hesitation. Zara dropped her bag back on the desk. Marcus's video is climbing. I know. So we respond. She sat down. Not with legal threats. Not with a PR statement. With work. She turned the monitor toward him. I want to release a second film today. Better than Fade Out. Something he can't touch because it's so clearly mine that no one will believe any other story. Remy looked at her. You have something ready? I've had something ready for 8 months. She opened a file. I was scared to post it. On the screen, a short film loaded. 40 seconds of preview. It was extraordinary. The kind of thing that made other creative work suddenly look like it was trying too hard. Remy stared at it. Zara. Don't make it a moment. I'm making it a moment. He looked at her. This is the most important thing posted on the internet today. It will be, she said. Once we post it. They released it at 2 p.m. By 4 p.m., Marcus's video had stopped climbing. The comment sections shifted. People were comparing the two. The artistry spoke for itself in a language no PR team could manufacture. By 6 p.m., 3 major outlets had reached out to Cypher asking to cover the anonymous director. At 7 p.m., Zara did something she hadn't planned. She logged into her own personal account, dormant for 3 years, and posted one thing. The 30 seconds she'd recorded on the roof. Her face. The city. The wind. No caption. No explanation. Just, present. Remy saw it from across the room. He didn't say anything. He just looked at her with an expression that had no performance in it, just something open and careful and real. That was brave, he said quietly. It was 30 seconds. She looked back at her screen. Bravest thing in the room. She didn't answer. But she didn't shut it down either. She let it exist in the air between them, which was its own kind of new. Outside, the city settled into evening. Streetlights blinked on below the windows. Somewhere a notification sound pinged and neither of them checked it. Zara looked up at Remy and said what had been sitting in her chest since 4 a.m. Thank you for not treating the work like a project. Thank you for not treating me like a threat. You kind of were, at first. Fair. She almost smiled. Almost. Marcus Webb posted nothing further that night. By the next morning his video had been flagged by multiple creators for context violations and was buried under its own ratio. He never made a follow-up. Some fires burn themselves out when you stop feeding them and start building something they can't reach. Zara stayed at Cypher. Not as a face. Not as a brand. As herself, which turned out to be the most radical thing she could have offered. She kept her hoodie. Kept the frayed lace on her left shoe. Kept the sticky notes in her apartment, one new one added at the bottom of the board in her own handwriting. You can be seen and still be safe. Sometimes. By some people. Try. Remy never pushed for more than she gave. And she gave, slowly, in the specific way of someone who'd been burned by their own openness and was choosing it again anyway. That, she decided, was not weakness. That was the hardest kind of courage. The kind nobody posts about. The kind that happens in empty rooms at 4 a.m. with sparkling water and too many monitors and someone who chooses to stay in your corner without being asked twice. The end.